All right, let's talk about Matthew Boyd now. I'm going to continue on with these, trade deadline appealing players and the most realistic kind of likely landing spots for them. And I've done a whole bunch, and take a look at the description. I've done a bunch recently, so if you enjoy them, if you haven't watched them, take a look, and I think you'll enjoy them. So, but today we're going to talk about Matthew Boyd, left-handed ace from the Detroit Tigers. And he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, so he's, no, actually I think he has a year and a half of control left, excuse me. But he's having one of his better years this year, but for a team that's really not going anywhere. So they could afford to move him. They could even afford to move Michael Fulmer, who's now in the bullpen, but get a decent prospect package in return. And I'll talk about prospect packages eventually when I do my MLB free agent predictions, my official one, a couple days before my trade deadline predictions, a couple days before the deadline. And then I'll talk about return packages, but I just want to talk about most likely places that he's going to land. So the number one team to me is the Los Angeles Angels because they are in dire need of another frontline pitcher. And they have the prospects to get him. He's not going to cost as much as a Max Scherzer or Kyle Hendricks or somebody like that, but he'll still cost a pretty penny, particularly the way he's pitching. But again, taking him away from other teams in the American League, which to me is a good thing. If they want to be more competitive in the West against the A's and just the A's right now, but they need another frontline pitcher, maybe even two. They need a reliever too. But this is a guy that I think is one of the most appealing and the most gettable options, and that's why gettable is key for me with the Angels. And I think he would, putting him with Bundy there and some of these other guys they have would be a nice upgrade. Plus Bundy's leaving, or he's a free agent at the end of the year, so he might not be back. So you don't want to have neither one of them at the end of the season. So to me, I'd rather pair both of them together right now. And if they're planning on kind of really going for it, they're going to need more than Boyd, but Boyd is one of the most gettable guys, and the Angels are a logical fit for him. Next team is the New York Yankees. They happens every year, injuries on the pitching side. They have like 13 guys in a DL now, which is ridiculous. Or they've had 13 guys in a DL this season. And they're kind of trending towards their all-time high record of 30-something a couple years ago. But Kluber's out for at least 8 weeks. They need another pitcher, a reliable one. And it gives them another lefty option aside from Jordan Montgomery. He's pitching well, and he does relatively well against some of the American League East teams too. So it gives them that. It would give them that option to kind of put up against those teams as well. So, but the bottom line is the Yankees need another pitcher, and they have the prospects and the players to get him. And again, it's not Max Scherzer. It's not like one of these guys. Not super duper high level ace, but he's a guy that's going to cost a few players, but he would represent an upgrade for the Yankees rotation either way. So then number two. Number three is the Boston Red Sox, another American League East team who needs another starter behind Chris Sale. They're without Brady Price now with the Dodgers, and they need another frontline pitcher, and Boyd represents that. And having two frontline pitchers on the lefty side, again, this would be a good thing for the Red Sox. And if they want to stay competitive with the Blue Jays, who could use them, and the Yankees obviously, and the Rays, this is the type of trade that they need to make. They need another guy. The Red Sox have generally played their best over the last 2 decades when they've had two frontline starters, as well as other pitchers, but two frontline starters is one of the most important criteria for them, and as it should be for most teams. And again, he'd be a good fit there, even though he'd be going to the Green Monster, where the market there is a lot crazier than it is in Detroit. Boston fans are intense, just like Yankee fans and Philly fans and Chicago fans. So you got to be ready for that if you don't pitch well. But behind Sale, he wouldn't have the pressure of having be the ace, even though Sale's coming back from Tommy John. It would still be a heck of a 1-2 punch on that side from Boston Red Sox. So there, to me, a logical fit. So, and last but not least is Chicago Cubs. Now, to me, if they're staying competitive, behind the Cardinals and think that they're a piece, or think that they can make a run in the postseason, then I say you bring in a guy like Matt Boyd. If not, if they fall out of contention, then you blow the whole thing up. You move Chris Bryant, you move Contreras, you move Hendricks and stuff like that. So this is contingent upon them still staying competitive in the National League Central. And he'd be another piece. And again, he would give that rotation, that lefty that they don't have now, with Lester, and give them another dynamic arm that a lot of teams have not seen. And for teams that have not seen it, generally the pitchers are head of hitters when they haven't seen each other. So it'd be a good thing for the Cubs. And again, keep them competitive. But if they're falling out of it, I say don't bring in anybody and go for the full teardown. But that's my opinion on the Cubs, and they're to me the fourth most logical fit for Boyd. So those are my lists. That's my list, I should say. Let me know what you think. Give me your feedback in the comments. The next video, we're going to talk about Chris Bryant and the most logical fits for him. There aren't as many, but there are a couple that are really obvious in my opinion. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you then.